Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Yes, you can get perfectly, beautifully edited videos in the morning, and then you can get me lying on the grass in the sun in the evening, because that is the level of confusion and chaos that is operating at Chelsea. So that's how the channel will operate as well. I am not at home. I was not prepared for breaking news. I was not prepared for, journalists to be putting out more information on personal terms agreed for yet another attacking midfielder. So I was outside, breathing fresh air, enjoying family company, and here I am now doing this video. So I'm enjoying though. What a wild few days this has been. Olise from Crystal Palace, £35 million release clause. Apparently we've put in a €45 million offer, which is above his release clause. That's working out to around about £35 million. And apparently the player, personal terms, more than happy to agree, wants to come and join. Of course, we've got quite a few French players, and he is also French. And as I've said with Mbappe, that's a selling point. You're going to make plenty of friends. Badiashile, Nkuku, Fofana, Gusto. So there's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack. Obviously, we were chasing Kudus yesterday. We haven't put an official bid in for him. That's what Fabrizio said. We've just been talking to his agent. We're close to personal terms. I don't think personal terms have actually been officially agreed. And obviously, Cherki was a link that continued to surface over the last couple of weeks as well. So for me, this tells me that we are only going to get one player. I don't see us getting two or three. I think there's, listen, we're sounding out our options. Now, the quality of the targets and the talent of these targets is insane. You take a look at how far we've come. It's really nice to see that these technical gifted players are all on our shortlist and we're all linked with them. I don't think there's any need to sign more than one, because I do think that you're overdoing it potentially and you're stockpiling. And we have to talk about this because, in terms of Olise, I rate him. I'm sure you guys rate him as well. Kudus, again, exciting. Cherki, again, exciting. Olise at Palace, one of the best chance creators in the league last season statistically. Brilliant footballer, just so gifted, so technical. Also, Manchester City are interested, and it makes maybe more sense for him there because of course, the fact that Marius is leaving and there's a clear opening there. Whereas with us, we've got, Madueke over there. We've got Angelo, who's been impressive in pre-season. We've got Sterling, who's been operating on the right in the last game. So we've got a lot more going on in terms of fighting for the place, funnily enough, in comparison to City, who is just really Bernardo Silva out there. And, he's a talented player, though. You have to be excited when a player like that gets linked to your club, because he is far above the valuation that his release clause is currently set at. You could say his valuation should be double that. Brilliant vision, brilliant switcher of play, brilliant, crosser of the ball. Just very, very fun to watch. 1v1, fantastic to see as well. Could definitely add more goals to his game, but he's played in, the right wing position on the touchline. He's also played in the right midfield 3 position and really does add control. Watching Palace with Eze and Olise as the 2 8s with a sitter, that was some of the most fun football I've seen, this season in the Premier League, when they were on show and when they were on form. So this is a player that can add control, brilliant ball manipulator and fantastic in terms of under the press and can really just glide and go past people. So very fun player, very much a player that I like and I would again have. But I've said that about so many players. I was just bigging up Angelo's performance off the bench there in the earlier video, and how, we talk about loaning him immediately. We talk about stockpiling. We've got to talk about this because people say, a lot of people just say we should just loan Angelo and sign someone else. And there is that, but there's also the fact that a loan is not a guaranteed success, and it's not always down to the player. You have to take a look at finding the right club for that player, the right manager, the right way of playing. You look at how we loaned Billy Gilmour to Norwich. Is Billy Gilmour a bad player? No, he was very good yesterday for Brighton, but we loaned him to Norwich under a manager that wasn't anywhere near the level needed or required, under a fan base that didn't rate him or understand his game, and he ended up getting quite a lot of stick and abuse. And Ampadu, you could say his loans as well haven't been brilliant, relegation teams and struggling teams. So talented players can get lost in the loan system, and it's not always going to work out. And we have to make sure that if we are loaning a talent that is doing very well under our own roof, Angelo is performing very well in pre-season. That's what pre-season's for. It's about, proving yourself. And if you prove yourself, then the whole point is you actually then probably get a chance and you are allowed to take that merit onwards and upwards. That's the whole point, really, for me. Especially when you see the chemistry that he'll have with Andre Santos and 2 young Brazilians coming over from South America at the same time, settling in. It's a lot easier. there's no guarantees that wherever we send him on loan, he will settle, he will make friends. There's loads of factors outside of the pitch that affect players. And those are parts of why loans don't go well as much as systematically and, all these things. So there's so much to take into account before you just say loan someone, especially when someone's impressing. So we have to be careful here, because as much as I love the players that we're linked with, I hope that we, don't overdo it and go for multiple. I think it is just one, and we are just sounding out our options, and we are just letting each club know that we have options, and that if you're going to overcharge us, we're going to go elsewhere. The big upside with Olise is there is no negotiation. There is a clear release clause that it's well within our means, and it's definitely value for money. We don't know how much Kudus would cost. His contract runs out in 2025, and obviously with Cherki as well, Leon, we don't know how much he's going to cost as well. But it feels like all of them are around about a similar fee, of around about that 35 million pound range. And that's good value for money for all of them. I have to say that. So, yeah, I just think we have to not get into a situation where we're kind of, dopamine effect is a serious thing in our fan base. It's a serious thing for our club. And someone can be exciting and you could start to invest stocks and confidence in them, and then as soon as the alert and the notification hits for someone else, suddenly that person is irrelevant and you move on to someone else. And it's very inhumane. It's very, objectifying the player and not really establishing any chemistry or bond with a player at your club, and all of these deeper things in terms of actually trying to establish a relationship and a connection and really appreciating what you have when you're constantly just looking elsewhere outside. It's a life lesson, really, constantly looking outside for something else that you don't own because you don't have it at your club and you don't have it at your disposal. Suddenly now that is something that you desire more, when really what you have at home can be brilliant. So I think for me, listen, if we get one of Olise, Kudus and Cherki, at this point I don't really mind which one. They're all very talented. I think Kudus is more suited to Poch in terms of his work rate off the ball, and I think Olise, listen, he's just a damn good player and he's got some Premier League experience under his belt. He's had a great season at Palace. I would love to have him as well. He's obviously was at Cobham, so that's an extra upside as well. But don't forget about the talent we have found, and have trust and faith in the talent you have acquired, because if you really think the recruitment team is as brilliant as it is, then you have to back yourself as well. The argument of stockpiling and bringing in just so many players in the same position, in the same age group, and then, yeah, we do sell them for profit most likely because they're that good. But, for me, it's not fulfilling. I'm not going to lie. It's not fulfilling to have so many players under our roster like we used to. And then we kind of just have this, it feels like Squid Game going on here. Yes, we want to have people competing for places, but don't lie to them. Don't sell them a dream that's really not even real. That's not reality. That can't really be attained. Make it fair, make it competitive, make it realistic, but don't stockpile them like we're in Tesco and we're putting people on shelves here. At some point you do need to stop. You do need to stop. You do have to take a step back and assess what you have and say, actually, we have enough, we're good. All of these targets that we're linked with just makes me think that Sterling in particular, not impressing so far in pre-season. There's still games to go, but he is, every day with these players that are popping up, every day I'm like, as much as I think he's a good player, I think, wow, you really, really need to step up, because we've seen before, experience is one thing, but listen, if you have talent and you're young and you're thriving and you're hungry and you have the right mentality, and we've seen Jackson's quotes after that game, that will do the job. Do you know what I mean? You might fall short in certain moments because you have lessons to learn and mistakes to be made, but experience doesn't guarantee anything. It's merely a factor. So for me personally, Sterling, with all these players we're getting linked to, is really becoming quite difficult to say that I want Maatsen to be loaned or sold. No, I don't. I don't want Angelo to be loaned. I think, we have a manager that develops players really, really well in Pochettino. That's exactly the environment I want him in. And when we talk about Angelo, people say, oh, maybe he's not ready, or he's played over 120 senior games. He's played over double the amount of games professionally as Andre Santos. He's played more games professionally than Mudryk. I don't know, maybe even Madueke. So this is a guy that was playing for Santos in the first team regularly, and he's very talented. So, when we talk about players not being ready, I don't really buy it. We're a team. Our team is not ready. Our whole team is young. Our whole team is developing. We have a manager that develops players. That's what we're doing. So listen, if the multi-club model was fully fully flow, and we had loads of clubs that we could send players here, there, and everywhere, and there was a little bit more of a conveyor belt going on here, but it's only Strasbourg, so we can only send them so many players, and it could only make sense for so many players. It doesn't make sense for every player to go to France and to go to Ligue 1 and to go to Strasbourg. So yeah, I'm excited. Listen, don't get me wrong. I rate Olise. Rating Olise is not the problem. Rating Kudus is not the problem. Rating Cherki is not the problem. But at the same time as well, I do want us to get our priority, which is our centre mid. We need to do that. I think it's very clear now that the recruitment team, since they've come in from January, they look like their targets. They're good. They're good targets. They need time. They're young players. A lot of people have jumped the bandwagon and just absolutely lambasting on Mudryk, obviously rival fans, etc. But you've got to give these players time, more than 6 months. Certain players in this league have had 2 years, 3 years, and they're still not producing anything, let alone 6 months in the most dysfunctional Chelsea team ever. Maybe the most dysfunctional Premier League team ever, for young players to be coming in and putting a marker down. So you've got to give them time if you're actually analysing them properly. But in terms of, the amount of players we're bringing in this position, yeah, it's interesting. Maybe Olise can play in the 10. I'm sure he can. If we're playing a 3-man midfield, he's definitely shown he can play in a 3 on the right side. Again, this makes Gallagher's position for me even more of a problem, because again, there's just so many players in this position. These technical, tight space players that can operate in half spaces. Yes, the work rate is great from Gallagher, the ability to score a goal, but these guys, in terms of creativity against a low block at Stamford Bridge, they are few and far between, and we're going after all of them, and they're definitely more capable of unlocking the door than Gallagher. So for me personally, again, his position and the money that he commands on the market, definitely you have to take a look at it if we're going to go after these players. It's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. I'm excited to hopefully see that we get one of them. Don't think we need 3 of them. Don't even think we really need 2 of them, considering what we have. And I don't think Sterling is leaving. Obviously, he's very much committed. He said that publicly many times. Same with Cucurella. Even though a lot of people at this point will probably like these guys to go, because we want to see Lewis Hall, we want to see Maatsen, we want to see Angelo. But the reality is, some of these senior players, they are also very optimistic with their chances and do want to play under Poch next season. And Poch has said that he would like some experience in his last round of quotes as well. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. My preference at this point, listen, I've seen the most from Olise out of the 3, out of him, Cherki and Kudus. I absolutely love Olise in the way he plays. He's absolute joy to watch. So I'd have no qualms, no questions in getting him. Hopefully he can play in that 10. We haven't really seen him much in the 10, but I think he can with the attributes he has, because then it opens up the space to still have 2 wingers. Kudus maybe is more versatile in terms of the positions he can play. If he can really play false 9, or if he can really play, in a partnership and give you goals, maybe more goals, then you've obviously got to take a look at that as well. And Cherki, listen, at this point, Cherki seems like a player in the rear view mirror. Obviously, work rate off the ball is not quite there, but he's also very gifted. I just haven't heard about him in about 5 days, so that tells me that we've got other things, bigger fish to fry. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, listen, just know we can't get everyone. Man City will get one of these technical, talented young players as well. They're looking for replacements. So if you're saying, you're scared to let them go to City, yes, Olise is a perfect replacement for Mahrez, but Cherki could also go in there and rip up shit, and Kudus could probably do the same. Rivals will sign good players. We won't be able to have everybody. So yeah, it's not one of those situations you can just, take everybody off the shelf and walk off. There's a lot of good players out there, and we can't have all of them. So yeah, I hope we come to a decision. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's an interesting one. And one thing I can say is I like the players we're linked with. They're all very fun to watch. They're all good players for possession-based teams. They're all exciting, very technical and very talented. And just don't forget about what we have and what we're seeing in pre-season, because I do believe that these chemistries and this link-up that we're seeing and this happy kind of squad and these personalities, don't take it for granted that we're seeing this. And there's still more challenges ahead. There's still more games to be, watching. I want to see what they do against Fulham, Newcastle, Dortmund. It's not decided that these guys can't go out on loan or they have to stay or whatever. But make sure that the pre-season is also something that you respect and that you take something from it. Don't just see it as, as an opportunity to just, enjoy the football and then replace anyway. Like, what was the point then? So yeah, interesting, but let's see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Smash up the like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. This is my last video of the day. And if they have anything else, then we will be back tomorrow. Until then, big up your damn selves in a bit, people. Peace.